I, 29F, am really disappointed with my husband, 30M, and furious at his mother, aged F. Sorry this is so long. And throw away for privacy. To start from the beginning, my husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 3. We met after college on the East Coast, where both of us had moved for work. He's originally from the West Coast, and his mother still lives there. At first, I thought it was sweet how close they were, how he always made time for her, picked up the phone whenever she called, and even sent her care packages. I thought, here's a guy who's family-oriented and emotionally available. How rare. But that affection quickly started feeling like an obligation, not just for him, but eventually for me too. She would visit multiple times a year, often for long weekends or even full weeks. Every time she came, he'd use up his PTO to be her personal tour guide. At first, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to come between them, and I told myself that he was just trying to be a good son. But by the second year of dating, I realized we had never gone on a real vacation together. Every time I brought it up, he'd say things like, well, my mom already booked her ticket, or she's been looking forward to seeing me. I finally put my foot down and asked, when are we supposed to have time to actually be together? As a couple? He agreed that it was starting to get excessive and promised he'd start setting boundaries. To his credit, we did take that Europe trip in 2023, and it was amazing, the first time in our relationship where I felt like he was putting us first. But it was also clear it took effort and guilt for him to draw even a temporary line with his mom. When she visited, she never made an effort to connect with me on a meaningful level. She was never outright rude, but she'd barely acknowledge me if we were alone together. She had a way of making me feel like the third wheel in my own relationship. Once I switched to a job that let me work from home 4 days a week, I was often the one stuck in the apartment with her while he went to work. She wouldn't help with anything. She'd just lounge around all day, sigh dramatically, and act like a neglected pet until her son came home and suddenly she'd light up like a Christmas tree. Now for the current situation. 6 months ago, my husband and I moved again, this time to be closer to my family. I'd taken a new job, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was finally setting down roots near people who supported me. During my first medical checkup in the new city, my doctor flagged a chronic issue that my previous provider had kept delaying action on. She recommended a minor surgical procedure that would significantly improve my day-to-day comfort and potentially prevent larger issues later on. It wasn't major, but it was real surgery with general anesthesia and a recovery window of at least a couple of weeks. I was nervous, and while my husband initially seemed supportive, things took a turn the moment his mother inserted herself, again. She said she wanted to come visit and help while I recovered, but she also wanted to explore our new town. I was already anxious about the surgery, and her being in my home during my recovery felt more like a burden than support. I expressed my discomfort, but my husband reassured me, she understands this isn't a sightseeing trip. She's coming to help, cook, clean, manage things while you rest. She even said she wants to bond more with you. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I didn't want to be the villain, again. Wednesday came. My husband dropped me off at the hospital for surgery. It went well, but the doctor wanted to keep me one more night due to unexpected results in my labs. I called my husband right away and explained the situation. He said he'd check in on me later. He never came. Thursday evening, I was groggy, in pain, and alone in a sterile hospital room. I kept staring at the door, expecting it to open. When it didn't, I started calling him, no answer. I eventually gave up and just tried to sleep. I figured he was probably caught up with something at work or tired from managing things at home with his mom. Friday morning, the doctor finally gave me the all clear. I called my husband again to say I'd be ready for discharge in about an hour. Voicemail. Again. And again. I waited an hour. Then another. I started panicking. Where was he? Eventually, I had to call my sister, who left work early, drove 90 minutes through Friday traffic, and picked me up. When I got home, I nearly cried. The house was trashed. Dishes piled high in the sink, laundry not just undone but strewn on the dining table, trash overflowing, and the cat's litter box reeking. It was clear no one had done a thing since I left. I grabbed a few essentials, and my sister, bless her heart, helped me pack a bag and took me to her place so I could rest in peace. Hours later, I finally heard from my husband. He had taken his mother on a long hike, in a no-signal zone, and had been completely unreachable. He sounded surprised that I was upset. You were at the hospital anyway, he said. And my mom really wanted to see the area. She flew all the way here. That was the moment something inside me broke. I told him I wouldn't be coming home until the house was clean and his mother was gone. He was angry, said I was making too big a deal out of it and that his mother had just wanted to help. Help? She did nothing. Worse than nothing. She took up space and distracted him from me during one of the most vulnerable moments of my life. Now I'm lying on my sister's couch, exhausted and hurt. The pain meds are wearing off, and the emotional ache is setting in. I keep replaying everything, his constant enabling, her emotional manipulation, and how invisible I've felt in my own marriage. And I'm thinking things I never thought I'd think. Like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is a wake-up call. I want kids. I want a real partner who'll be there. Who will show up, not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. And after all this, I don't know if that's who my husband is, or ever was. I know people say not to make big decisions while you're emotional. But I also know this isn't just one bad day. It's years of small decisions that kept pushing me to the sidelines while his mother stayed front and center. I've gone from love, to tolerance, to resentment, and I don't know if there's any way back. Thanks for reading this far. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know I deserve better than this. That night, while lying in my sister's guest room, sterile, quiet, with the sound of her fridge humming in the kitchen, I stared at the ceiling and scrolled through old texts between my husband and me. Messages from when we were first dating. Sweet little notes, I can't believe I found you, you make me want to be better. Now, all I could think was, where did that man go? My sister, bless her again, made me tea and left snacks by the bed, whispering, you don't have to decide anything now. But her look said more. She'd always been skeptical of how my husband prioritized his mother over me. I defended him then. Now I couldn't even defend him to myself. The next morning, I woke to 5 missed calls and 3 texts. From him. I cleaned the house. Mom is leaving Sunday. Can we talk? Not, I'm sorry. I messed up. I wasn't there for you. No acknowledgement of the betrayal. Just logistics. As if this were about a dirty litter box and not about abandonment. I didn't reply. Later that day, I got a call from an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. It was his mother. She actually called me, said she was sorry I'd felt unsupported but that I needed to understand boys don't always know how to handle hospitals and that he did his best. Then she pivoted into asking if we could meet for brunch before she left, like nothing had happened. I told her no. Not angrily. Just flatly. No, I need space. She sighed dramatically and muttered, well, I tried, and hung up. That was the moment I realized she didn't just enable the dysfunction. She thrived in it. She kept her son emotionally tangled in guilt, always needing to earn her approval. And he let it happen. No, he helped it happen. Later that night, my husband texted again, asking if I'd come home for dinner so we could reset things. That word, reset, made my stomach turn. This wasn't a video game you could restart after screwing up. This was our life. Our marriage. Our partnership. I finally replied, I need you to understand something. I wasn't just hurt. I felt abandoned. I needed you, and you weren't there. You chose to hike through the woods with your mother rather than check your phone. Rather than check on me. That's not a reset moment, it's a breaking point. He replied, you're being dramatic. And that was it. The last straw. Now, I'm calling therapists. I've quietly started gathering financial documents and making a list of questions for a divorce consultation. I'm not saying it's over, not yet. But I'm done waiting to be someone's second priority. I'm done hoping a man will choose me over the comfort of letting his mother run his life. Because someday, I want my own child to have 2 present, emotionally reliable parents. And right now, that vision does not include my husband.